Prison, Industrial Complex. The Prison Industrial Complex, PIC, detention facilities, and psychiatric hospitals. The term is most often used in the context of the United States, where the rapid expansion of the U.S. inmate population has resulted in political influence and economic profits for private prison companies and other businesses that supply goods and services to government prison agencies. According to this concept, common beneficiaries of the PIC include corporations that contract cheap prison labor, construction companies, surveillance technology vendors, companies that operate prison food services and medical facilities, correctional officers' unions, private probation companies, lawyers, and the lobby groups that represent them. The term also refers to various interest groups who, in their interactions with the prison system, prioritize financial gain over rehabilitating criminals. Proponents of this view, including civil rights organizations such as the Rutherford Institute and the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, believe that the economic incentives of prison privatization have led to the growth of the prison industry and contributed to the overall increase of incarcerated individuals, also known as mass incarceration. These advocacy groups note that incarceration affects people of color at disproportionately high rates. The history of the prison industrial complex in the United States is inseparable from the war on drugs, which significantly increased the overall prison population. After Ronald Reagan made tougher anti-drug laws a key domestic priority of his presidential administration, incarceration increasingly predominated as the standard punishment for nonviolent offenses. The number of Americans awaiting trial or serving a sentence for a drug offense in prison or jail increased from about 40,000 in 1980 to about 450,000 in 2004. In May 2021, the Federal Bureau of Prisons listed 46.3% of federal inmates as incarcerated because of drug convictions. Stricter sentences and prison expansion. In 1973, Nelson Rockefeller, then the governor of New York, reversed what he believed had been ineffective reforms, and rallied for a stringent judicial crackdown on drugs. For any illegal drug dealer, even a juvenile, he advocated a life sentence in prison, exempt from parole and plea bargaining. The Rockefeller drug laws, although not as harsh as Rockefeller had originally called for, inspired other states to enact similar laws. President Ronald Reagan's 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act further accelerated incarceration. Very shortly, New York state prisons were experiencing unprecedented overcrowding. Rockefeller's successor, Governor Mario Cuomo, was unable to generate enough support to dismantle the drug laws, and to keep pace with increasing arrests, was forced to support prison expansion. In order to fund these prisons, Cuomo used the Urban Development Corporation, a public state agency, which could issue state bonds without voter support. Legally, these new prisons were owned by the urban development corporations and leased to the state of New York. These events led observers to acknowledge the availability of government funds to build prisons.